One hit wonder, right? Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Let's turn our attention toward Indiana and look at this. I've got the Crimson Hoosier Red on. Let's get it. Kurt Signetti would love this video. Yes, Kurt, how are you? You brought swag to Indiana. Good for you. This is exactly what this program needed. Some swag, some confidence, a boost. Not to just kind of make your way into the program and say, we're going to build, we're going to try to compete. No, Purdue sucks. And you know what? Michigan and Ohio State suck. Well, they did lose to the Buckeyes by 3 touchdowns, but they did beat Michigan. And of course, it was a magical run at Indiana at 11-1. There's no way they can duplicate that. No way. No way they can do it. Obviously helped by a horrific schedule, one of the worst in the Power 5. Played absolutely no one outside the conference. More on that later. And then their Big Ten schedule, no fault of theirs. They played no one outside of Ohio State. Nebraska was the second best team that they played. All right, let's get to the particulars on offense. Curtis Rourke gone after leading this offense to 41 points per game. That was one of the best in all of college football until they met Notre Dame in the playoff and basically scored 3 points in meaningful action. Fernando Mendoza in from Cal. I've always liked him. He's a gamer. Check out the tape against Miami in which he led a 35-10. Oh, it could have been an upset, but Miami came back to win late night 38-35 in Cal Berkeley. Mendoza, 16 touchdowns, 6 picks, 3,000 yards, almost 69% completion percentage. Sacked 50 times. That was the worst effort in college football. He's going to have so much better protection with the Hoosiers. Who are those guys? Pat Coogan in from Notre Dame. Khalil Benson from Colorado, plus 3 starters from the 2024 edition. And Indiana's got a pretty darn good offensive line. They also have a running back coming in from Maryland. I thought this guy had a lifetime contract with the Terps. Roman Hemby, 3,200 yards, 27 touchdowns, and also another transfer in from UAB, Lee Beebe, 884 yards last season, 30 catches out of the backfield, and 8 total touchdowns. At the outset of the playoff game in South Bend, it looked like Indiana was going to strike first. They hit a play downfield around the 10-yard line. Thought for sure they were going to put up the first points and maybe the first touchdown to get on the board, break the ice, and give them some confidence, but they turned it over on downs. Jeremiah Love went 91 yards the other way. All was said and done. The playmaker on that play, I believe, was Elijah Surratt. He's back, 53 catches, almost 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Omar Cooper, over 21 yards per 7 touchdowns. Highly productive for a limited number of catches. E.J. Williams has spent time at places like Clemson. This is his 6th season in college football. 65 catches between his careers at Indiana and Clemson. Injuries have held him back, especially in 2024. I know it's hard to believe, but this was the 2nd-ranked defense in college football in 2024. Again, let's keep in mind the schedule. But the Ohio State game, look how well they hung, 14-7 at half. The defense was pretty good. Let's give them some credit. Yes, they had some powder puff games to boost the stats, but the individual talent that's coming back is noticeable. The number 1 tackler on the team, Aiden Fisher, 118 total stops, and he's one of those holdovers that transferred with Signetti from James Madison. The top pass rusher on the team, Mikhail Kamara, he's back, 15 tackles for loss and 10 sacks. Also, Indiana's top cornerback, D'Angelo Pons, 57 tackles, 3 picks, and the number 1 safety, Amari Farrell, 49 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and a pick 6, and plenty of reinforcements once again this season through the transfer portal, and that, of course, was key to Indiana's 11 wins in 2024. The place kicker is a holdover from 2024 in Nicholas Radicic. Hit 10 of 11 last season, working on his range. He was a bit limited last season. UCF punter Mitch McCarthy is a new addition to the special teams, 44 yards per punt last season. Now on to the schedule breakdown. In Indiana, here comes the rant, and you deserve it. Your athletic director should be ashamed of himself. This has nothing to do with Kurt Signetti or the team, their competitive spirit, their willingness to take on the best teams in the nation. This has nothing to do with the Big Ten. Of course, Indiana cannot control its schedule inside the conference. This has to do with playing high school teams 3 times in 2025. Just like they did in 2024. 3 times against nobody. You could not try to schedule worse teams. It would be impossible to schedule worse teams. If they scheduled 3 of the top FCS teams, they would be scheduling much better teams than scheduling the dregs of the group of 5. Kennesaw State, look at what they faced last year. Look at what they're facing this year. It's an embarrassment to a Big Ten football program. I don't care how bad Indiana's been, and the excuse has been given, well, they're building a program, and they made this schedule years ago, and they're trying to get to postseason play, meaning not a college football playoff appearance. That should be held in question to a certain extent because of this schedule, but they're just trying to reach bowl play. They're building a program, just trying to get to 6 wins. Well, if you're that pathetic as a Big Ten program, and there are others, so the rant goes to the likes of Rutgers and Maryland and Minnesota and others at times. Penn State, they're a culprit. But man, Indiana, this is pathetic. It's an embarrassment. You should be embarrassed, and you need to schedule in the future. You've never scheduled tough out-of-conference games, but at least one power conference opponent and at least capable group of 5 teams. All right. I'm not even going to mention who they're playing outside the conference. They might as well just play local high school teams. No Ohio State or Michigan. Of course, they lost to the Buckeyes. As mentioned, they beat Michigan last year, 2015, at home. Ohio State and Michigan replaced by Oregon and Penn State. So pretty much a wash there. First 3 games in the Big Ten will be enormous for this team. Illinois, at Iowa, at Oregon. Throw that in with the Michigan State game. And I got to say, if Indiana goes 2-2 in the first 4 games, they should be in great shape to possibly vie for another college football playoff appearance or at least a high bowl bid and a fine season. It's manageable past that. Really light outside of Penn State on that November 9th date in Happy Valley. At least they have to face Oregon and Penn State. And there it is. A trip to Iowa City is always difficult. I thought that this was a prime candidate for the Mark Rogers, Voice of College Football famous plus or minus 3. If you don't know what that is, boy, you need to be here on a regular basis, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the College Football Show. The plus or minus 3. It's the talk of college footballs. You need to lock in on that. Great indicator of success and failure from season to season in college football. For Indiana, 11 wins last year. Prime candidate once again for the plus or minus 3. I thought that they would be a certain lock for this, especially with that non-conference schedule, whether that actually works in their favor. But I've reviewed the Big Ten schedule again. My original 8-4 goes to 9-3. I think they only lose 3 Big Ten games, 6-3 for the Hoosiers in conference. And then, of course, they get the 3 layups to start the season. Again, be ashamed. Appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Comments and questions down below. Lock into the other Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, and ACC predictions right here at the Voice of College Football. See you Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Give me a call.